President Pedro Castillo has launched the second agrarian reform to boost the capacities of over 2 million small agricultural producers in Peru. After a new attack by the violent sectors that consummated the 2019 coup in Bolivia, social movements and grassroots organizations are declared an emergency state in defense of democracy. And nearly 3 terabytes of data on the wealthy elite from 11.9 million records and 14 different offshore services firms were revealed in what's known as the Pandora papers. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, this is from the South. I'm Ray Gomez. We begin in Peru, where President Pedro Castillo has launched the second agrarian reform. The program is aimed at boosting the capacities of more than 2 million small agricultural producers with finance and infrastructure projects, among other actions. President Castillo also rejected the rumors about expropriations and confiscations being part of this initiative, and has said that his government will focus on the development of family-based and cooperative farming, and launched the 9 action guidelines for this agrarian reform. He also highlighted the application of technological innovations to the agricultural and industrial production processes, pondering the export of the products.
So important as a worker and campesino, and even more as a teacher, to tell our sons and daughters that these are the real centers for Peru, to do what we have had to envy. We went abroad these days, and at the UN and the OAS, the first thing we did with the businessmen was to say that in Peru there is real wealth. We will not only be the ones that we send and export as an exporting country, but we will also bring technology from there.
President Pedro Castillo also referred to his office's interest of industrializing the nation's available resources.
As well as in Pichare, as well as in the north to process potatoes, as well as in the south to industrialize lithium, why not recover gas? This is the eagerness in which the government is involved.
And 4 people were wounded and police were shot in a new clash between prisoners and the Ecuadorian prison, where 118 people were killed just days earlier in the country's deadliest inmate riot. Police Commander Tania Varela said there was a shootout between inmates at the prison in Guayaquil. Officers neutralized the confrontation and maintained control of the prison. According to information released by the force, elite police teams entered the facility, supported by soldiers and a military tank. 2 rifles were 3 pistols, ammunition, and cell phones were seized. The detention facility has space for around 5,000 inmates, but it houses more than 8,000, surpassing its capacity in 60%. In his Angelus prayer, Pope Francis has deplored the terrible outbreak of violence in the prison of Guayaquil, asking those who work every day to make life in prisons more human.
I was very saddened by what happened in the past days in the prison of Guayaquil, Ecuador. A terrible outbreak of violence between inmates belonging to rival gangs has caused more than 100 deaths and many injuries. I pray for them and their families. God help us to heal the wounds of crime that enslave the poorest and help those who work every day to make life in prisons more human.
The relatives of the victims are living confusion and distressed by lack of official information regarding the death toll. They have gathered at a morgue in Guayaquil as they attempt to identify their loved ones.
They told me yesterday at the penitentiary that he was alive, I don't understand. And now they call me to say that he is dead, but the corpse that they showed me was not him, and I have to wait for another corpse.
We are devastated. We didn't expect this. We are devastated. What I can say is that there are people who have to take responsibility for this because it can't be left at this.
Authorities in California's beachfront Orange County cities scrambled to mitigate the fallout from a major oil spill off the coast that caused substantial ecological impacts. As of Sunday, the oil spill of post-production crude was an estimated 10 kilometers long and stretched along popular shorelines of Huntington and Newport beaches. Residents were warned to steer clear of the shoreline, and the ocean was closed to swimming and surfing due to potential contamination. The Coast Guard did not clear on what caused the spill, but it appeared to be a pipeline bench connected to an oil rig offshore. An investigation has been launched into the incident. Spain will provide $139 million to help the island of La Palma recover from its volcanic eruption. During the visit to the island, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez said the cabinet will approve a package of very powerful measures to assist in areas such as infrastructure, reconstruction, water supply, employment, agriculture, and tourism. The Cumbre Vieja volcano began its eruption on September 19th and has destroyed more than 900 buildings. The financial package is the second stage of a plan approved last week. The first stage saw the government announce aid of $12.3 million for the immediate assistance of those who had lost their homes. About 6,000 people have been evacuated from homes on the island out of a population of about 83,000.
Next Tuesday, the cabinet meeting is going to approve a very powerful package of measures. Very powerful in terms of infrastructure reconstruction, in terms of the response to the water supply problem, in terms of employment, in terms of agriculture, in terms of the tourism sector, in terms of tax benefits for a total amount of more than 200 million euros. We do not know when the volcanic eruption will end, but what the people of La Palma should know is that regardless of when the volcanic eruption ends, the Spanish government, all the institutions, will be there to face the enormous task of rebuilding La Palma and to offer a horizon of prosperity, progress, and tranquility to the people of La Palma.
We will be right back after this very short break. Welcome back. Bolivia experienced a new attack by violent sectors at the consummated coup d'etat of 2019. Therefore, progressive social movements and grassroots organizations declare an emergency state in defense of democracy. In Cochabamba, an expanded department of the movement to socialism declared a state of emergency in defense of the process of change and patriotic symbols, and ratified that they will not allow a new coup d'etat. They analyzed different points of conflict, but the violent extreme right when ignited in different regions of the country. In the meeting, they agreed to make a social or calls with the 16 provinces and 6 federations of the Tropic of Cochabamba to carry out peaceful mobilizations.
The right wing has begun to generate points of conflict in the country. In La Paz with the coca growers, in Santa Cruz with the indigenous Mars, and in Cochabamba, the illegal mayor, as we can say, Manfred Reyes Villa, because he practically has a lot of legal processes against him, and some of them have already been sentenced.
Regarding the situation in Bolivia, the spokesman of the presidency, Jorge Richter, affirmed that the nation is living crucial moments as the authors of a coup and those responsible for the deaths resulting from the Zencat and Sacaba massacres are consolidating an alliance that grants them impunity.
In the effort to achieve their political objective, here we can make a quick allusion to this, political objectives of reinstalling a 1990s state model in the country. This means an absolutely neoliberal state model, administered and managed by the great economic oligarchies of our country that have the economic concentration, administered and managed by the old representative of the lobbyism of conservatism, of those sectors that build their political logics on the basis of exclusion. That state was the one they tried to reinstall in November 2019. Now what they are looking for in what they call in defense of democracy is basically to be able to destabilize the government management.
On Sunday, the International Consortium of Investigative Journalism revealed they compiled and analyzed nearly 3 terabytes of data on the wealthy elite of over 200 countries and territories compiled from 11.9 million records and 14 different offshore services firms. The Pandora papers includes 330 politicians, 134 millionaires, celebrities, fraudsters, drug dealers, royal family members, leaders of religious groups around the world, and the alarming but not surprising figure of 35 current and former country leaders. Among them, the presidents of Ukraine, Kenya, and the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic, as well as former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. A prior project, the Panama Papers, revealed similar information, but this time the data compiling goes back to the 1970s, and a large part comprehends 1996 to 2020 operations. According to the researching team, the listed estates and properties are not necessarily legal, but its tax value was significantly downplayed to evade about $11.3 million or trillion dollars in payments. The assets from luxury items such as property and yachts, as well as incognito bank accounts, art ranging from looted Cambodian antiquities to painted by Picasso and murals by Banksy, were hidden in tax havens listed countries like Panama, Dubai, Monaco, Switzerland, and the Cayman Islands. Out of the 35 presidents involved in the matter, 14 are Latin American, as the list includes heads of states as Ecuador's Guillermo Lasso, Chile's Sebastián Piñera, and Dominican Republic's Luis Abinader. These inner workings reveal an under-the-shadows economy that controls the common. So maybe we should not say tax the rich, but justice for the poor. Survivors of the 2013 shipwreck joined residents of the tiny Italian isle of Lampedusa in an anniversary ceremony to honor the 368 people who died. Participants in the memorial tossed flowers into the waters of Lampedusa. The shipwreck is one of the Mediterranean's more deadly migrant tragedies, and after that, in the October 3rd, 2013 accident where Eritreans and Ethiopians. They were trapped in the boat when it overturned or down trying to swim ashore. Even as the dead were remembered, the Italian Coast Guard's boats were bringing ashore some of the more than 500 migrants rescued since late Saturday from more than 1,000 boats in the Mediterranean Sea.
We are throwing the flowers in the sea to say, at least for one day, we are with them. We are with the relative who they are still waiting for a phone call to hear, "Mother, I did not make it. Father, I did not make it." Many are waiting for phone calls that will never happen. There are relatives who come here who still hope to find someone.
Yeah, I'm not coming for holiday. I'm coming with 3 October. I will see you, my brother, my sister. Is here in the boat. It's that. I'm coming to see. That is.
Do you feel closer to them here?
Yeah. Yes.
Mobilizations commemorating the 3rd anniversary of Catalonia's independence referendum began on Sunday in Barcelona. Protesters demanded Carles Puigdemont's pardon in light of Spain's ongoing extradition request, while Italy's judiciary deliberated the extradition's legality under European Union law. Through the demonstrations will likely continue centering the efforts on the Catalonia's 2017 pro-independence referendum. It is expected that Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez to reject such a notion for the foreseeable future. Experts stated that further dialogue between the national government and Catalonia on policy considerations around the greater economic benefits for the region will be on the agenda.
Those of us who are in favor of independence have not jumped off the bandwagon, and the government of the Generalitat, which has pro-independence majority, needs to get its act together once and for all and take sides and apply what we voted for, which is the unilateral declaration of independence. The social mass is there. I don't know anyone who has stopped being a pro-independence activist. Now it's a matter of political leaders joining us, and we can all do it together well.
The government of Nicaragua confirmed that the underage population will be immunized against COVID-19 with the Cuban vaccines Abdala and Soberano 2. Nicaraguan families that will be able to voluntarily vaccinate their children from 2 to 17 years of age with the Cuban anti-COVID-19 shots, as confirmed by the Vice President of the Central American nations, Rosario Murillo. Nicaragua approved the emergency use of vaccines manufactured by Cuban pharmaceutical company BioCuba Pharma that have already been successfully used in Cuba, which today shows an encouraging drop in the number of contagions thanks to the successful vaccination campaign. This makes Nicaragua the fourth country after Iran, Venezuela, and Vietnam to approve the emergency use of Cuban antiviral drugs. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel insisted on the need to maximize compliance with the health measures against the COVID-19 pandemic in order to guarantee the gradual activation of services throughout the territory. At a meeting of the governmental group for confronting the sanitary emergency, the president warned that the enthusiasm for the progress made in controlling the epidemiological situation should not cloud the minds of those responsible. The director of epidemiology, Dr. Francisco Duran, highlighted the sustained decrease in the number of contagions and active cases, figures that show the progress made by Cuban society in the fight against the pandemic. We have more stories coming up after this financial break. Welcome back. 268 peacekeeping engineering detachment members from the 11th batch of the Chinese peacekeepers perform a mission in South Sudan's northwestern region of Wau were honored with the United Nations Medal. UN officials expressed their warm congratulations to the Chinese peacekeeping forces via video link. During the mission, the engineering detachment has successfully completed a variety of tasks such road construction, bridge repairs, and humanitarian relief since it was stationed in the mission area in November 2020. It has won high prizes from local people and UN departments. 63 members were mainly responsible for the rescue, evacuation, sanitation, and epidemic prevention of the wounded and the sick. Over 5,000 people gathered at the rally on Sunday in support of Tunisian President Kais Saied. Demonstrators with Tunisian flags and carried placards railing against Ennahda, the Muslim Democratic Party that is the biggest in the parliament and has acted as its main antagonist. On July 25th, the president plunged Tunisia into a constitutional crisis by suspending the elected parliament, dismissing the prime minister, and assuming executive authority. Saied stated the actions were needed to save the country amid unrest over financial troubles and the government's handling of the coronavirus pandemic.
We want Kais Saied to take over and hold the MPs and the parties accountable, not to step out of the political game. Over the last 10 years, where has the money gone, and what have they done with it? Let all the corrupt take responsibility. What Kais Saied did is incredible and an extraordinary thing. Why did he do it? To eliminate corruption and get the corrupt out of the country. The only person who has done his duty is Kais Saied.
The newly elected leader of Japan's Liberal Democratic Party, Fumio Kishida, takes office as Japanese Prime Minister on Monday. His new government aims to promote economic recovery while keeping COVID-19 infections under control. Local media reported that the new mandatory plans to dissolve the House of Representatives on October 14th, and consequently a general election is likely to be held on November 7th. Kishida has promised to increase middle-class incomes and reduce wealth disparity, which is viewed as a break from the policies that the Japanese government has pursued over the past 2 decades. In addition, the diplomat said that an economic package is in preparation to help people and businesses suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic. His predecessor, Yoshihide Suga, announced not to seek re-election last month amid the public dissatisfaction with his COVID-19 response. We've come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at TeleSUR English. And you can also follow us on social media for all the latest news. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I am Ray Gomez. I thank you for watching.